May mga nagsasabi na crypto need a reset bago ang next bull run. At kung honest tayo, ito yung part ng cycle na ayaw nating maranasan. Kasi dito natin ramdam yung sakit, duda at pagod. Kapag green ang market, lahat confident, lahat may plan, lahat may thesis. Pero kapag nag-shift na sa red, doon lumalabas yung tunay na tanong. Broken na ba ang cycle or normal lang itong reset na kailangan para lumakas ulit ang next run? At base sa mga analysis, mas malakas ang case na itong volatility na nararamdaman natin ay hindi random, hindi aksidente at hindi rin automatic na the end of crypto. Sa big picture, the market is doing what it needs to do para mag-set up ng mas solid na expansion phase. Balikan natin yung pinakamalaking reference point. Bitcoin hit an all-time high around 126,000 noong October 2025. Tapos within less than 5 months, umabot siya sa 60,004. Grabe yung whiplash. Psychologically, parang binuhusan tayo ng malamig na tubig. Maraming investors, lalo na yung mga late pumasok sa hype phase, napatanong tuloy kung scam ba lahat, kung Ponzi ba lahat, o kung natapos na yung magic ng crypto. Pero kung titingnan natin ito sa cycle lens, yung ganitong violent moves are not proof na patay na. Madalas, proof ito na nagre-reset ang market. Kasi kapag sobrang daming leverage, sobrang daming speculative positioning, sobrang daming fast money na pumasok dahil lang sa momentum, kailangan talagang may period na maglilinis yan. Ang problema lang, habang nililinis, tayong retail ang nakakaramdam ng pain. At isa pa, crypto madalas ang unang nasasaktan kapag lumalabo ang macro environment. Kapag may macro stress, geopolitical tension o lumalamig ang risk appetite sa traditional markets, crypto usually bears the brunt of the sell-off. Bakit? Kasi crypto is still treated as a high beta risk asset sa mata ng maraming participants. Ibig sabihin, kapag humihigpit ang liquidity at tumataas ang uncertainty, crypto ang unang ibinebenta. Kaya minsan kahit may good news sa adoption side, kahit may progress sa infrastructure, kahit may new product at use case, red pa rin ang chart. Hindi dahil walang value ang innovation, kundi dahil yung market pricing sa short term. Liquidity pa rin ang mas malakas na driver. Dito papasok yung pinaka-importante na idea na liquidity is the dominant driver. Meaning kahit gaano ka-solid ang narrative, crypto still trades primarily on global liquidity conditions. Kapag liquidity is pumped, kapag nag-expand ang liquidity, digital assets tend to rally. Kapag liquidity contracts, digital assets tend to fall, often sharply. Kaya may mga panahon na parang disconnected sa fundamentals yung price action. Pero ang sinasabi ng ibang analysts, those moves are often the mechanism through which market reset and prepare for the next expansion phase. Parang kailangan muna ng compression bago ulit mag-release. Kailangan muna ng pressure cooker moment bago ulit sumabog pataas. Ngayon, bakit humihigpit ang liquidity? May ilang sabay-sabay na forces na humihila sa capital palabas ng system. Una, the Federal Reserve continues to run down its balance sheet. So nababawasan yung capital na umiikot sa financial markets. Pangalawa, seasonal tax payments. Nagde-drain ng liquidity mula sa treasury system. So may chunk ng money na lumalabas temporarily sa circulation. Pangatlo, may wave ng technology IPO at equity issuance na sumisipsip ng capital na pwede sanang pumunta sa risk assets. Pang-apat, strong US dollar at tighter global financial conditions na mas lalo pang nagpe-pressure sa speculative markets. So kapag pinagsama-sama natin yan, makikita natin bakit may immense pressure sa crypto markets ngayon. Hindi lang siya chart pattern issue, hindi lang siya weak hands, macro liquidity issue siya. At kapag ganito ang environment, normal lang na makita natin yung mga words tulad ng elevated counterparty risk, weak technical trends, fading ETF inflows, at broader stress across credit and banking markets. Lahat yan sabay-sabay na nagko-compress ng risk appetite. Kaya kapag tinitingnan natin yung market ngayon, mas healthy tingnan siya bilang reset zone kesa end of crypto. Kasi historically, crypto markets never move in straight lines. Lagi siyang may violent correction at sharp recoveries. The same force that create painful corrections often lay the ground for powerful recoveries. That's the rhythm. So anong itsura ng reset na ito sa timeline ng 2026? Ang framework dito, hindi clean rebound. Multi-step reset siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi natin dapat i-expect na nag-bottom na tapos tuloy-tuloy na bull run. Mas realistic na magkaroon ng stages. Early part ng year, characterized by retesting lows at fraud selling pressure habang leverage at speculative positioning continue to unwind. Middle of the year, possible ang temporary recovery habang nag-stabilize ang markets at may opportunistic buyers na nag-i-step in. Then later in the year, another correction would not be unusual habang macro conditions continue to shift at investors reassess risk. Only after dumaan sa ganitong proseso, doon usually pumapasok ang market sa more durable rally phase. Kumbaga, hindi ito one-shot healing, rehab ito. At bakit mahalaga itong framing? Kasi dito tayo nagkakamali bilang investors at traders. Kapag nakakita tayo ng bounce, iniisip natin eto na. Tapos nag-all in tayo. Nagde-leverage tayo, naghahabol tayo. Pero kung multi-step reset ang reality, yung unang bounce pwedeng relief rally lang, pwedeng temporary stabilization, pwedeng opportunity para sa market na mag-reprice ulit bago mag-decide ng next leg. Kaya kung wala tayong plan, nauubos tayo sa chop, nauubos tayo sa emotional swings, kaya ang mas smart move, hindi hulaan ng exact bottom, kundi intindihin kung anong phase tayo at i-position ang sarili natin accordingly. Ngayon, the big question, intact pa bang long-term cycle? Kasi yun ang concern ng karamihan at base sa nakikita ng ibang mga analyst, may reason kung bakit the long-term trend remains intact kahit volatile lang short-term. Katulad ng structural demand has expanded meaningfully compared with prior cycle. Meaning, mas malalim na ang institutional participation, mas stronger ang infrastructure at mas improve ang access through regulated investment vehicles. Kung ikukumpara natin sa older cycles na puro retail at crypto native players lang, iba na yung participation ngayon. Mas malawak ang reach, mas robust ang rails at mas normalized ang access. Makikita din natin na macro conditions are likely to evolve. Liquidity tightening rarely lasts forever. Kung inflation continues to moderate, may scenario na the Federal Reserve could shift toward rate cuts later in the year. Historically, monetary easing become a powerful tailwind to risk assets. Hindi ito guarantee na automatic move, pero it's a big lever. Kapag nagsimulang dumuwag ang liquidity, crypto usually one of the first to react strongly. Kaya yung reset phase, hindi lang punishment. It can be preparation para sa next liquidity expansion. Tapos yung broader political and financial dynamics may also support markets. Election cycle often coincide with more accommodating economic policy. Habang stabilization in credit markets could reduce systematic risk across the financial system. Kapag nabawasan ang systematic fear, mas nag-o-open ang door for risk-on behavior at kapag risk-on, crypto typically benefits disproportionately at kapag pinagsama-sama natin, constructive pa rin ang long-term trajectory even if the path remains volatile. At dito lumalabas yung one of the most controversial but interesting statements na nakikita ng iba na si Bitcoin could ultimately recover toward the 100,000 range and potentially move higher by the end of 2026 if liquidity conditions improve. Again, hindi ito promise, hindi ito sure at may downside scenario pa rin lalo na kung macro stress intensifies. Pero historically, those drawdowns have yielded longer-term uptrends. So ang message dito is not buy blindly. Ang message is understand the cycle mechanics. Ngayon, kung investor tayo, ang pinakamahirap na part hindi naman ano ang next headline. Ang pinakamahirap is positioning through volatility. Kasi sa reset cycle, iba-iba ang reward ng bawat phase. Early phase, liquidity tight, volatility high, market searching for a bottom, typically rewards caution. Meaning, running underweight crypto exposure early in the year can make sense kasi high ang chance ng whipsaw at retest. Pero at the same time, the opportunity usually emerge before the broader market recognize it. So habang nag-i-stabilize ang condition, investors may gradually increase exposure. Then by the later stage, especially if liquidity begins to ease, allocation may shift more aggressively, moving overweight digital assets into a potential fourth quarter rally. Ang key dito, timing exposure to liquidity conditions rather than chasing momentum after markets have already turned. Stay defensive now, get aggressive later. Pero paano natin gagawing practical yan sa totoong buhay? First, kailangan nating tanggapin na volatility is not just noise. Often, it's the mechanism through which opportunity is created. Kapag nagka-dislocation, lumalabas ang distressed assets, special situation, mispriced security across digital assets, blockchain equities at digital corporate credit. Meaning, hindi lang spot market ang tinitingnan. Active strategies that can move across asset classes can find pockets of value during mid-cycle stress. Pero syempre, hindi ito para sa lahat. Ang point lang, during reset, hindi lang buy and hope. May mga windows for selective plays basta align tayo sa risk management at sa macro liquidity narrative. At sa mga nagtatanong naman kung anong platform ang personal kong ginagamit sa trading, isa sa mga platform na ginagamit ko ay BitFi. Para malinaw, unregistered ang platform na ito sa Pilipinas base sa status, kaya hindi ito recommendation. Pero kung gagamit man kayo ng anumang crypto platform, mahalagang kayo mismo ang mag-verify ng regulatory status nito at intindihin ang lahat ng kaakibat na risk. May additional information reference tayo sa description. At para sa mga traders, lalo na yung nagfo-focus sa short-term moves, the message is even more direct. Huwag natin ipilit ang bull behavior sa bear transition environment. Kapag liquidity tight, market tends to punish overconfidence, malakas ang fake outs, mabilis ang reversals. At yung mga trend na akala natin confirmed, biglang mawawala. So ang edge dito is defensive play, controlled sizing, clear invalidation, less leverage, more patience. Kasi ang reset phase, parang stress test. Pinipili niya kung sino ang tatagal. Pinipili niya kung sino ang mag-overtrade o mauubos. Pinipili niya kung sino ang may discipline maghintay hanggang lumuwag ang conditions. Kaya kung ile-label natin ang 2026, ang pinaka-accurate term na masasabi natin ay transition year but not a record year. Hindi siya classic bull year na tuloy-tuloy green. Hindi rin siya prolonged bear na dire-diretso ang pagbagsak. Transition siya. Reset siya. Ang market madalas sineshake out niya yung mga weak hands first, forcing excess leverage and speculative positioning out of the system. Uncomfortable in real time, pero it plays an important role in preparing markets for the next expansion. At dito maraming naloloko kasi ine-expect natin na ang success dapat dramatic. Big breakout, big rally, big breakthrough moment. Pero madalas ang tunay na improvement sa market cycle feels anticlimactic. Steady lang, gradual lang, tahimik lang, and then one day bigla na lang nating makikitang na nag-shift na pala ang environment. And that's why positioning before the turn is the real game. Kasi kapag hinabol natin ang momentum after the turn, late na tayo. Mas mataas na ang price, mas crowded na ang trade, mas mataas na ang risk ng pullback. Pero kung naiintindihan natin yung reset phase, alam natin kung kailan defensive, kailan gradual accumulation, kailan aggressive allocation. Hindi man perfect ang timing, pero align ang posture natin sa macro liquidity cycle. Ngayon, i-highlight natin yung mindset trap na nangyayari sa ganitong phase. Kapag market nag-reset, maraming tao nawawala ang faith. Historically, crypto cycles have never moved in straight lines. The pain is part of the structure. Kung walang pain, walang shakeout. Kung walang shakeout, maraming weak positioning ang mananatili at hindi mabubuo ang foundation para sa next leg. Kaya sa ganitong phase, ang winners hindi yung pinakamaingay sa timeline. Winners yung pinaka-prepared, pinaka-patient at pinaka-disciplined sa exposure management.